What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Wolfpack Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm your host, Dylan Clemens. Here with me, as always, are my two co-hosts, Michael Plant and Mike Bonney. What's up, guys?
Hey.
Super excited. We just got some football last night, and we get more this Sunday.
I was going to say, you didn't sound super excited when you said that, man. I'm super excited, and you want to know why, Ike?
No, I don't. I don't
Gabe
want to hear it.
motherfucking Davis last night.
I don't want to hear it.
Go ahead. Give me the 16% target.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah.
Touchdown dependent.
Get
over it. Although he did look good. He did look good.
And big
did he look good, or did the Rams defense look terrible?
He made that. That one sideline catch, I suppose, was good. And that other deep pass he got was pretty much busted coverage, too, as well. So
exactly.
And the Diggs touchdown was busted coverage. So Rams play terrible.
Yeah, it almost seemed like they just won the Super Bowl and don't have that same edge anymore.
Jalen got cooked.
I kind of get it a little. Yeah, he did. And the couple plays he did make on Diggs, he was talking a bunch of shit to him too. I thought that was funny, even though he's getting lit up the whole game.
I got a tweet last night after the game when I was hanging out with Joe. Jalen Ramsey allowed a perfect passer rating last night, 158.3.
Wow.
In all of his
That's
coverage
bad.
per PFF.
That's
that
crazy,
is the
man.
first time.
Most of them were probably Diggs, I would assume. But
he allowed
yeah,
7 receptions on 8 targets.
Yeah,
one
Diggs
touchdown, and it was 100+ yards.
Diggs was smoking him, and the crazy thing is like all I kept hearing all week was how Diggs has always struggled against Ramsey, and then last night he just torches him. So, but I know we want to get in our game previews, guys, but I need to talk to you guys a little bit more about this Thursday night game and about Cam Akers last night. I was wondering who was going to get the first carry, and it was Darrell Henderson, but then he kept getting the carries and kept getting the carries. You know, Cam Akers, what did he see? 3-4 carries?
3
and then 1 reception?
No, it was not a reception. It was a backwards.
Oh, they count. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
that's
so
right.
it was a rush.
Are we panicking or are we just sitting tight? Well, what are you guys thinking?
I wasn't even high on in the beginning.
I'm a little worried.
I don't think
you got Sean McVay coming out saying he expects him to. He needs him to make more of this workload that he's getting, even if it's a little. He needs to see more out of Cam Akers. He feels like he's not getting 100% out of him right now.
Well, yeah, he didn't even get positive
doesn't
yards.
look like it. No, I mean, granted, the Bills' defense were pushing the Rams around last night.
Henderson was able to do it just fine.
Yeah,
this is true.
I mean, he wasn't super efficient though. Henderson wasn't with his.
But for a stout defense, I mean,
he went over 40 something, I think.
Yeah, but yeah, I agree that the Bills were pushing the Rams' offensive line everywhere. Man, Stafford got sacked 7 times too. So,
classic.
3 interceptions.
Yeah, but guys,
never bad.
Hey, Matthew Stafford's back to his, back to how he led off last year. Leading the league in interceptions.
Right.
Yeah, true that. But yeah, guys, we're back to our normal show doing Fridays, and we're just running through all the games, doing some game previews, talk kind of the main focus points from each team in game.
And those controversial questions.
Yes. But before we do that, I just want to remind you to please subscribe to the Fantasy Six Pack YouTube channel. Subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts. And then head on over to fantasy6pack.net/plans and use that promo code F6P early, and you get 25% off. You get the Discord, you get the weekly rankings, you get, ask us any question, and we're there in seconds to answer your questions for you guys. It's absolutely awesome just to talk.
I know, and then there's just constant
football
updates all the time. It's just
honestly, by some asshole.
People get annoyed by me. I can already tell.
It doesn't seem like it. A lot of them are actually thinking you do good.
I know. I got one that said he thinks I'm doing a great job, and thank you for that.
I think you're doing okay.
I appreciate that. This is what I expected from you guys.
You gotta be quicker.
Yeah, you're all right, man.
Gotta be quicker. I'm only a couple seconds after the whole news.
And then do it on Twitter too, so then maybe you could beat out Schefter or some shit.
I mean, if I had the sources.
Yeah, that's true.
No doubt. And then I just want to quickly remind you, this show is sponsored by American Raz Sports Memorabilia Room on Facebook. It's just got a bunch of cool stuff, raffles, memorabilia. There's even, I see some game squares, so you could get in on that, maybe win a little bit of money. Just the link scrolling on the bottom of the screen. Just go check that out. But without further ado, you guys ready to jump into some game previews?
You betcha.
Indeed.
All right, guys. So we're going to start off with this division slobber knocker with the New Orleans Saints versus the Atlanta Falcons. Ike, I'm going to start with you here. Jameis Winston, we've seen him be a top 5 fantasy quarterback in years past. Does he deserve to be looked at as a streamer this week against this bad Atlanta Falcons offense?
No. I mean, if you're in Superflex and you need a choice between your quarterback too, I would go Jameis Winston. But if you're in 10 or 12 team leagues, there are much better choices. I don't think he's going to have to do much against the Falcons. I feel like it's probably going to be a blowout. So I don't think they're going to have to do like 500 yards like he's used to playing from behind. Plus their defense is really good. So it's more game managing.
Michael Pat, would you start Tua or Jameis Winston this week?
I think I'd say that's a tough one because you got positive game script. Like you said, if they're up, they don't have to pass it very much. I mean, but we did see Jameis Winston throw for 4 touchdowns in Week 1 last year against the Packers on very little passing.
Did. I think on 20 throws.
Yeah, so I mean, it's possible here. I think man, that's a tough one. That's a good question. I think I'd lean Tua. Just because I think New England's going to be a tough one again. I do think he'll probably throw a couple interceptions, but I think there'll just be the need to throw more.
Sure. Yeah, I get that. Staying in the Saints offense, Mike, which Saints wide receiver do you want in your lineup this week? Whether it be Michael Thomas, Jarvis Landry, Chris Olave, who are you thinking?
I'm going to be honest, that me and Ike have alluded to being, positive game script, telling us they're not going to need to throw the ball too much. I'm not huge on any Saints pass catcher this week, but if I had to choose one, give me Michael Thomas, man. He was quoted this week saying, what is he going to do this year after being out for as long as he is? And he's trying to top it, his record-breaking 2019 season. So if we can get anything close to that, you're getting solid production with Michael Thomas in your lineup.
Yeah,
I think it's just a little too early for Olave, the rookie, and Landry's still got to get his feet wet in this offense. Michael Thomas is the consistent, and we've seen him do it before. Granted, it was with Drew Brees. We've still seen him do it before.
That man's just got to stay healthy.
Mm-hmm.
Just got to stay healthy.
It's true. It's true.
Jumping over to the Falcons now, Ike. We're not starting Marcus Mariota, obviously, so I'm going to jump right into the backfield with you here. Can we trust Cordell Patterson's in our lineup this weekend after what we saw him do last year?
Like we've been saying for the game the whole time is that the Falcons could be down. And if they're down, they're going to use Patterson way more than Tyler Algier. So, yeah, I think he's worth flex. Easy. I would play him for sure.
Yeah, I've been getting a lot of questions about Tyler Algier and if people should roster him or not, man. And I just see him behind that terrible offensive line going like 15 carries for 40 yards and stuff.
Exactly. Reminiscent of Mike Davis.
Any of the PPR work or the receptions.
He'll probably be the red zone back, but how often is this team going to be in the red zone?
Exactly.
And then Mike, I know we all love Kyle Pitts here, but what is his realistic ceiling with Marcus Mariota as his quarterback week in and week out?
I mean, don't get me wrong, guys. You're not going to want to watch these games, but he's got tight end 1 ceiling here. I know Mariota, the name value just scares you away right there, but we are talking about a guy that when he was in Tennessee supported Delaney Walker finishing as a tight end 2 in 2015, a tight end 5 in 2016, and a tight end 5 again in 2017. Wow. And that was with Mariota throwing him the ball. Mm-hmm. Now, Kyle Pitts, in my question, is way more talented than Delaney Walker. No shade to him, But Kyle Pitts is the highest drafted tight end in this Super Bowl era. And he was drafted there for a reason. We've seen it in the preseason, him burning cornerbacks as a tight end. I think the ceiling is no question tight end 1, especially when you got Mariota supporting a top 5 tight end multiple occasions.
Yeah, another fun fact about Kyle Pitts, guys. He was the first rookie wide receiver to get over 1,000 yards since Mike Ditka.
Rookie tight end. But yes, we got what you meant.
What did I say?
Wide receiver. I mean, technically he is one. He's 6'6". He runs a 4.4.
And I messed it up. It's Dick Butkus too. What a fun.
Just hanging out.
And you're a Bears
totally
fan.
messed that up. Hopefully no one.
Whatever.
Love playing. You gotta edit that out or something.
Yes,
Shit, we're live.
I can't bleep that out either.
But yeah, I think that pretty much covers that game. So why don't we jump on over to the next one, the Philadelphia Eagles versus the Detroit Lions. And Ike, I'm going to start with you here. Can Jalen Hurts and his throwing ability produce these 3 offensive weapons who were probably starting in our lineups between A.J. Brown, Dallas Goedert, and Devonta Smith week in and week out?
Apparently, his accuracy has gotten extremely, I wouldn't say extremely better, but better this year. So that's good news. But even with that, I still think there's going to be an odd man out probably every week. I don't see 3 guys constantly performing every week. For this week, I think it's going to be Devonta Smith, probably even most weeks, because they'll want to get A.J. Brown involved. And the Lions are bad against tight ends. And if I believe I saw this correctly on Twitter, Goddard still had a 22 to 24% target share when he was healthy with Jalen Hurts. So that's always good.
Yeah. We're agreeing way too much on this show already, but
yeah,
I
this
agree.
Is what happens when we organize. We agree too much.
I think it's I think it's Devonta Smith, unfortunately, too, and I think because Dallas Goedert, I feel, is going to always have a role in the red zone. Like we
and they're going to want to get AJ involved because they just traded for him. Why would they not?
They're going to pepper him with targets, man. I think I was too down on AJ Brown this offseason.
I have been. I'm moving up more and more.
Yeah.
When I do the weekly ranking, it's like I gotta put him there.
Are you guys finally believing they're going to resort back to how they started the year and throw the ball a little bit more, be a little bit more balanced, not this run-heavy offense?
Look at those running backs.
They're going to throw a little. Yeah, they're going to throw a little bit more. But
I'm not impressed with any of the running backs.
Yeah, I was going to say, hell of a segue, Ike. Mike, LaPlante, what are your thoughts on
not
this
a great segue for me?
True.
I mean, I'm an optimist here. I'm saying it right now. I mean, if there was ever a time to be confident in Miles Sanders, it's this week, guys, against the Detroit Lions. Last year, now I know it was last year, but I mean, other than adding Aiden Hutchinson, what else did they do to this defense to really help improve it? Last year, they were 5th worst against the run, allowing 135.1 rushing yards a game. Now, granted, the ceiling is going to be cut short a little bit with the likes of Hurts possibly stealing those rushing touchdowns. And I mean, possibly it's most likely going to happen. And then you got Kenny Gainwell stealing the PPR work. So it is sketchy. But if there was ever a week, this is probably the week.
Yeah.
I hear you.
I still wouldn't.
Yeah, it's super gross, man. I can't.
It's better than going up against the Steelers.
If you're in a deep league, why not? Why not?
Yeah, you probably have to in a deep league, but
I mean, I'm in this league, this charity league for Matt Donnelly, the Vipers podcast. It's a DFS style type of league. You can only use the same player twice throughout the whole year. I said, fuck it, I'm throwing Miles Sanders in the lineup this year as one of my RBs against this prime matchup. Why not?
Yeah, no, I
don't have to worry about using them again.
Exactly. Get them out of the way early.
Yeah, for sure. We do got a quick question here from Sean. Is the Denver tight end worth a play, Ike, if Kittle can't go?
Of course. I play Sean, unfortunately. I got to do what I got to do. So
can you go ahead and pronounce Alberto's name, please?
Okoye Bugnam. I could be wrong there, but I think I might have been right.
I think you're pretty close.
I respect him going the Denver tight end instead of trying to spell it out.
If I was Sean, I'd pick him up. I would.
It's worth a shot. I mean, you're looking at a prime match against Seattle. They were terrible against tight ends last year.
Probably the best tight end Russell Wilson's had since prime Jimmy Graham. Or I mean, tight end.
And isn't Greg Dulcich injured as well?
I wouldn't worry too much about that.
I'm not too worried about that right now, but last year, according to Fantasy Pros, the Seahawks allowed 9.2 fantasy points on average to the tight end, and that was 5th best. So it is a prime matchup against them. Now, I mean, it is a situation where are they going to be up and they don't need to throw the ball? But yes, I mean, if Kittle is out, which I did get the update for him, you know, if you do check out the Discord, he's doing his best.
He's a madman, so he probably will go out there.
But you can't count on it. No, you can't count on it.
No, even if he gets out there, I'm not playing him.
It's more
he has not practiced all week.
Yes.
So I mean, look at somebody like Alan Lazard who hasn't practiced all week. He's doubtful. I don't know why George Kittle isn't doubtful. I feel like Kyle Shanahan's doing his mind games, and he's like, yeah, he might play. So they game plan against him, and then when the game starts, Kittle's not even going to be in.
Yeah. I think if Gerald Everett is available too, Sean, that is a decent idea too. I think against Vegas.
Yeah, it's a good streamer.
Jumping back into our Eagles-Lions game, jumping over to the Lions now. Ike, are you worried about DeAndre Swift in a tough matchup against this really good and improved Eagles defense?
I hate to say it because I really like Swift, but it's probably like a 6 out of 10, maybe even a 7. Last year when he played the Eagles, he struggled bad. He was under 10 fantasy points. The only thing that saved him was 5 catches on 5 targets. The good thing is he averages, when he's healthy, near 7 targets a game. If you're in a PPR format, you have to still play him and be confident enough to where he'll get you enough PPR work or receiving work to be fine.
Yeah, just to piggyback a little bit on him. I mean, DeAndre Swift, I mean, how many games he missed last year? I think it was like 4 or 5, and he was still top 4 in receptions at the RB position. Mm-hmm. He's a part of that passing game.
Then, Mike, speaking passing game, who do you think is going to lead the Lions in targets this week, whether it be the Sun God, TJ Hawkinson?
Why do I get all the tough questions?
Chark.
This is kind of bullshit. I feel like
this is right here.
This is. I feel like Rob Schneider and Big Daddy. Why does he get all the easy ones? Hippopotamus. I mean,
that's pretty good.
This is a tough one. I mean, gun to my head, I have to say either Hawkinson or Swift.
I think it's going to be Hawkinson. I think they got to be a little worried about kind of throwing at these corners, man. And with the Sun guy being in the slot and stuff. Yeah, with Chauncey
will Slay
Gardner
follow
Johnson,
him though?
But he doesn't need to. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson's going to be in the slot too, man. And he's one of the best slot corners in football.
Goff loves Amon-Ra though. He said they even said in the offseason that they're going to pepper him. So
Chauncey Gardner is being projected more as a safety for the Eagles this year. But if they do play him in the slot, it's still it's insane. The cornerbacks they have: Darius Slay, James Bradbury. We talked about him a couple years with the Giants locking down wide receivers. Then they got Chauncey Gardner. Like, this secondary is loaded. Like, they're going to probably have to pass it to Hawkinson in the middle or Swift dumping it off.
That's what I'm thinking.
Maybe they'll put Gardner on Hawkinson or something.
Oh, God, he's going to eat. He's going to eat. Hawkinson, I'm sorry. I don't think Chauncey Gardner
is he smaller? I don't know much about Gardner.
I think he's decent size, but yeah, we got another quick question here. LaPlante, let me kick it to you here since Ike and I are biased Bears fans. What do you think about Darnell Mooney? I'm assuming this week against the 49ers.
It's not a
Remember, their corners aren't great.
It's not. Well, it's still not a great matchup. The Niners defense is fast.
And good.
Darnell Mooney, his thing is going deep. I mean, he hasn't really been used as that, like, that, the underneath guy, like Stephon Diggs was used last night. Like, he's more been that deep threat, and he gets peppered in with those slants and, drags and whatnot. Mm-hmm. If he is the guy, which, I mean, I know you were projecting him. I project him to be that guy. It's just he doesn't fit that archetype. as your wide receiver 1. But I love his volume potential this year. His ceiling is a little bit capped in this offense, but God, he has such a high floor. I love him as easy wide receiver 3, high-end wide receiver 2. Because I think Justin Fields takes the leap this year. I hate that you guys have him as a Packers fan.
Good deal, man. I like to hear
So
that.
this might be a week, though, for Justin Fields.
Even so, man, like, do you remember last year when he played the Niners? Yeah, he had it rough, but he made them look silly on that play. He fucking scrambled for a touchdown. Like, if he can just upgrade that passing, man,
Which they
he's
say
going to be hell. He's going to be hell to cover.
His footwork's better, man. He just holds the ball a little too long, and
Agreed.
that's what scares me about this weekend with those guys coming off the edges.
Mhm.
It makes me nervous. But moving back on to our next game, the Jacksonville Jaguars at the Washington Commanders, guys. Ike, you've been pretty critical of Trevor Lawrence this offseason. This is why I gave you this question and not LaPlante.
You mean like super critical?
Yeah.
It's not getting better.
Does Trevor Lawrence start the season off on a sorry? Let me start again. Does Trevor Lawrence start the season off on a strong note? As
we'll give you a mulligan, unlike Urban Meyer,
a top 15 quarterback this week, possibly
top 15, pushing it.
The Commanders' defense is not very good. Their secondary is not great.
On paper, their pass rush is supposed to be absolutely insane. They got
Chase Young is out.
5. I don't care. They still got another first rounder to replace him. I'm pretty sure
they do got a good front. They do get a good front. Go on.
The Jaguars line isn't great, so I'm assuming Lawrence is going to be running for his life or having to get rid of the ball very quickly. Which, if he can do that, I mean, he can run fine, I suppose. But yeah, you don't want to kill him. But if he can get rid of the ball quickly.
He's no Josh Allen, but he's no Tom Brady either.
Super flex territory quarterback too, I suppose. That's the best you got with him.
Okay. Even in this matchup, that kind of surprises me. Mike, you got 20 seconds on it? Or no?
I like it, but we still got to, gain some chemistry here with Trevor Lawrence. I think he offers a decent, floor with his rushing value. I've stated on many podcasts before. He rushed it over 70 attempts last year. Like, that's what we love in our quarterbacks nowadays. I mean, you don't want that pocket passer that doesn't run. So I do like it, but I think the chemistry still needs to be built a little bit more with Kirk, Evan Ingram, ETN, all that.
Kind of want to see what he does first, too. Like, if he has a good week this week, then you could start be thinking, like, ooh, maybe he's actually for real.
And I get that, too. But, Mike, going back to you now, what are your thoughts on the Jaguars' backfield? And I know you're going to piss me off.
It's like you read what I put in the show notes.
I did. I actually didn't. I just know your take here, and it bothers me.
I mean, my honest take here is I'm scared. I'm a little scared here. I mean, like, granted, if you got ETN as your RB2, it's all right. But, like someone on the podcast here who's rocking ETN as his RB1, I am scared, man. You're running up against the Washington Commanders' defensive line, which does not allow a lot of rushing yards. All right. And if he's projected to, if ETN's projected to get the major workload, it's probably not going to be very efficient. All right. James Robinson is projected to be behind ETN this year, albeit in a limited fashion. It's still going to be taking touches away from ETN. You got Snoop Connor taking away from touches away from ETN. Like, how many touches in total?
I don't know about Snoop, but Snoop.
He might see, like, I could see him ceiling getting.
You never know. I didn't expect Zach Moss to line up out wide last night.
Exactly. You never know. So, I mean, for Snoop Connor to possibly get 5 touches, a game wouldn't shock me. But. Like, I love ETN, but he's going to have to pull off an Alvin Kamara, man. He's going to have to be super efficient. That's just and he was in college, but that was college. This is the NFL. That's my only thing. He's got to be efficient. He's got to be an Alvin Kamara. He's got to be an Aaron Jones. He's got to get 5 yards.
He's got to score
8 to 10 yards a catch. He's got to score, and that's
going to be tough.
Like if James Robinson is in this offense, they say they want him to be the red zone back. I mean. What's ETN? He's going to get the PPR work, which is good, but the ceiling's cut. He gets a high floor, but there's no ceiling.
I've said this to you offline, man, and I'm going to say it to you here. There's a high possibility that James Robinson is going to come back and not be good. because of
true.
his
Very true.
Achilles injury.
This is true.
You can't like
Look at Cam Akers.
All right, but look at the pass. Look at the pass to Doug Peterson. He never has a workhorse back. Never. It's always a split backfield. That's
Etienne can't handle full work
No, but
full rushing workload anyways.
I don't expect him to. Like I wanted to say, he's just a big play waiting to happen too, kind of similar to Gabe Davis. I know different offenses, but he can kind of break a long one whenever he touches the
you're
ball.
right, but that's
Based
harder
off
for
college,
a running back because you need 5 linemen to give you a hole to break a big one. You need 1 safety to fuck up a coverage for Gabe Davis to go wide open in the end zone. Like it's a lot to happen for a big play for a running back compared to a wide receiver. That's the thing.
Like I'm totally fine with ETN's 12 to 15 touches a game.
That's what I was thinking.
I think he's
as an RB2, perfect.
I think he's gonna do well enough with those touches to warrant a solid running back. Go ahead, jump over to the Washington Commanders now. And Ike, is Gibson, after all the shit we've been giving him all off season, is Gibson a must start with no Robinson in the backfield anymore?
I hate to say it, but yeah. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is. Crazy circumstances happen, but he's thrust into the role, man, and most people drafted him as a flex option, so you guys got embarrassment of riches by playing him in the flex. But he's an RB2. He's an RB2. That's where I have him ranked, like as an RB, like top 24.
He was going to stupid value in drafts. I mean, it was one of those players like, I'll let him be somebody else's problem. But if you took the chance on him, man, at least for the first 4 weeks, I think he provides great value as an RB2.
I think Robinson's going to be gone for longer.
And that's the thing. We don't know how long exactly. I've been hearing it's at least 4 weeks, but I mean, we're not doctors. We're not fake ass Twitter doctors.
Mm-hmm. And then,
I mean, go on. Yeah.
Mike, can we expect Terry McLaurin to get back to the consistent Terry McLaurin that we saw 2 years ago when he was one of the most consistent wide receivers in the game?
I know what you want me to say, but I'm not going to say it. I hate to break it to you. With Jahan Dotson now here, first round draft capital. I mean, guys, we forget how early he was drafted. I know he was like the 5th wide receiver off the board at pick 16. That was where CeeDee Lamb went to the Cowboys. I mean, he has the talent to be there, and I mean, if they invest that much capital in him, he's going to be in the game plan. I mean, I'm out on Curtis Samuel, but with Jahan Dotson there, I just can't see him. Not even a little bit. Not even a little bit. No.
They'll play him at running back with what's his name gone for a bit.
Yeah.
But I'm
thinking about it deeply.
As being as consistent as he was a couple of years ago, no. But there is hope here. With Carson Wentz now on the team, he's shown to hyper target as wide receiver 1. But with Jahan Dotson there, I mean, this is possibly Carson Wentz's best wide receiver 2 he's ever played with. I can't name another wide receiver 2, because last year he had Pittman. It was Paris Campbell, Ashton Doolin, garbage. Then he had in Philly, it was Alshon Jeffrey. Who after that? I mean, Jahan Dotson's probably exactly. Jahan Dotson's probably the most talented wide receiver 2 he's ever played with. So maybe he doesn't hyper target the wide receiver 1 as much because he has somebody to actually throw it to on the opposite end. I mean, I like McLaurin for the Carson Wentz thing, but I'm just skeptical about the consistency.
Yeah. I get that. I tend to agree. And then we got a question here from Joshua. I have Devontae Adams at wide receiver 1 and Waller at tight end. Do I flex Josh Jacobs, 3 Raiders, or put Brandon Cooks in? Go ahead, Ike, take it.
I'll let you go first, Ike.
I would not do 3 Raiders. I'm sorry. That doesn't seem right to me, but you got the right 3. That's for sure. I mean, you got the Devontae, got to start him no matter what. I think he's going to be a top 3 wide receiver this week. Waller, a little iffy on because he's had his injuries this week, but tight end's a shit show, so you can probably do that.
You got to start Waller. There's no question.
And honestly, you got to start. You got to start Jacobs because he's the number 1 running back. So I don't know. I don't like it. Because if that offense falters, you're going to struggle. But it looks like you kind of have to play 3 Raiders.
I don't
Especially
think I
Cooks
trust
playing
Jacobs.
Indy.
I like Brandon Cooks against Indy. We project them to be down. They're gonna have to throw the ball. It's Nico Collins. It's Brandon Cooks, guys.
I don't know.
I think it's Brandon Cooks. To be
Over
honest with you.
Jacobs?
I think it's Brandon Cooks over Jacobs. It's safer.
Mhm.
This is the one time I will take the wide receiver over the running back in the flex because I like leaning the RB for the safety and security. But this is week 1. We don't know what Jacobs is going to get for that workload. We thought Cam Akers was the starter in LA. How'd that turn out?
But they have Darrell Henderson. Like, who do the Raiders have? Zamir White. It's not good. It's not going to end up like that.
They got Brandon Bolden. They got Amir Abdullah.
He's good. He's still going to
maybe
get
Josh
15
McDaniels wants to be cute and he wants to start Amir Abdullah.
I would literally shit my pants.
I mean, everyone was shitting their pants last night when Darrell Henderson was fucking starting.
No, this would be for real.
I think the safer play, especially since you have 3 Raiders, is differentiating that, going the ceiling play and expanding to a second team. Because going 3 players from the same team, you need that team to score 30-plus points. And you need those 3 players to be the involved fantasy players for them to actually
honestly
hit.
The one I think is Waller. That should.
This is when you're taking a 3 people from the same team. That's like taking a 3-leg parlay. You need all 3 to hit. And how often does all 3 hit?
Hit one last night.
Dylan, I mean, you hit every now and again. It's not super rare, but it's not the safe way.
Yeah, for sure.
$100, bro.
But let's move on, jumping into our next game. San Francisco 49ers at the Chicago Bears. Ike, how high did you move Ayuk up in your rankings with the Kittle news of that groin injury? Where do you have this?
Not as high as you guys probably think. Before the Kittle news, he was probably borderline flex, to be honest. But with Kittle probably being out or not being as useful, he's a solid wide receiver 3. I moved him in the high 20s.
Do you have your rankings up or not at the moment?
Not right at the moment, but I'm pretty positive it's like 28.
You're asking Ike if he's prepared?
Sunday is when it's going to fully get like finalized because so I know like all the injuries and stuff. But as of right now, I'd put him mid or low 20s.
Yeah.
Yeah, the injury is scary. A groin injury for a guy that, looks like a wrestler out on the field, mashing into everybody. I mean, you kind of need that groin.
Mm-hmm. I like Ayuk this week, to be honest. I think he's low-end wide receiver 2, high-end wide receiver 3 with that news. He's probably going to be matched up with Kindle Vildor, Ike, so that's good news.
Oh, you guys remember him.
That's good. That's good news for Ayuk.
Vildor.
But, Mike, jumping over to you now, and he's kind of been the talk of the offseason a little bit. Trey Lance, with all the Jimmy Garoppolo news, with him re-signing, are we trusting Lance right from the start this week against this? I don't want to say bad defense because they're probably going to be well coached, but there's not a ton of talent on the defense, I guess.
Did your daddy ever teach you the phrase, trust is earned, not given? I love Lance this year. The ceiling is up there, but hell no do I trust him. It's not yet. We got to see it. I mean, the guy's only thrown probably 300, I believe it was like 300 passing attempts in his entire career for football, including college.
Yeah, weird, huh?
So I don't trust it. But goddamn, am I intrigued here, guys. I mean, if anything, Jalen Hurts was a great example last year of what a QB can do that can't throw the ball, but still has value because they can rush the ball. It's a cheat code in fantasy. I'm really intrigued here. The Bears defense is not, I mean, I'm sure you guys can attest to this. They're not as good as they once were. I'm intrigued, but no, I don't trust them.
Yeah, that's fair enough. And then I just piggyback it off of that. Who do you want, Lance or Fields this week if you had to start one?
I would be picking Trey Lance. Sorry, my eye. Bears defense is pretty bad. Not gonna lie, they got like one guy, Roquan Smith, that can probably make a difference. Don't tell me about Robert Quinn, Dylan. Don't want to hear about it. I think Trey Lance can absolutely, especially since we're hearing that we like Ayuk, we like Samuel. He's got to get points. So I'm assuming he's going to destroy the Bears.
And this is another. I'm glad we disagree on this one, Ike. I lean Fields actually.
Really?
I think he's going to outscore Lance this week. Lance scares me this week.
Wow.
Lance scares me this week.
I do lean Fields because I think he will rush the ball more.
He's going to have to because Bosa is going to be right on his ass. So.
See, I think Trey Lance is going to rush more. I think Trey Lance might even go 10 to 15.
But those are all designed plays. I don't like Justin Fields is going to have designed run plays, and he's going to be just running for his goddamn life.
Agreed.
I also think Fields is going to get sacked more if you play with sacks taking away points. That's going to affect you. That's true. So I would go Lance.
And then
in our QB format we play, I play Lance. But in normal normal formats, I'm playing Fields.
All right, Mike. With you leaning Fields, are you starting anyone besides Darnell Mooney and David Montgomery in this offense? And apparently a lot of people hate this matchup for Montgomery too. I don't love it, but I think he'll still be okay.
I mean, he's going to be volume-based. That's going to be it. If he falls into the end zone twice, hallelujah. If he falls into the end zone once, he's going to hit his value. If he don't touch that end zone, though, I mean, unless he's getting work in the passing game, which is very viable, I don't see David Montgomery being great, but other than those two, it's Cole Kmet. I love him this year. He's the only one I trust to get a strong target share in this offense because he is the second best receiving option on this team. He was, just for example, I know we've gone over this several times. He was 8th for tight ends in targets last year, and I expect that only to increase this year.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Definitely.
Yeah, I knew you would be. That'd be the one thing you were going to agree with me on. But we could probably move on to this next matchup here, even though it's probably not that great.
Cleveland, hey man, Baker Mayfield revenge game. Cleveland Browns at the Carolina Panthers, guys. Obviously, Jacoby Brissett is the starting quarterback for the first 11 games. Can he keep any of these Browns skill players fantasy football relevant? Including this week.
Does this include Nick Chubb?
I mean, I kind of ixnayed him because we already know he's going to be good.
Okay, yeah. Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt are going to be fine. Honestly, out of all the pass catchers, I'm leaning towards David Njoku.
Yeah, my guy.
Jacoby Brissett loves the tight end, and David Njoku's got talent, man. He for some reason, they're not allowing him to show it fully. I think this is the year where he can.
They might.
It's very possible he can get top 12.
They just gave him that bag, man. So hopefully they.
And you can miss me with the Amari Cooper shit, man. I'm done with him. He's too boomer bust. Now he's got worse quarterbacks. Now I'm done.
And just playing devil's advocate here.
Don't start him.
They gave Austin Hooper the bag a couple of years ago after his great season, and look how that turned out. Granted, Njoku is a lot more athletic.
Yes. But Mike, I gave you a perfect segue before you ruined it. But just going back to it, what do we do with Amari Cooper?
I'm praying to the fantasy gods because that's all you can do at this point, guys. This offense is not going to be high powered. It's not going to be high flying. It's run first. It's Nick Chubb. It's Kareem Hunt, and maybe
probably run first, second, and third.
and it's Jacoby Brissett leading the charge, guys. I mean, the one thing I will say about Jacoby Brissett, I mean, I know I wrote it here in the show notes, but he didn't mention it. He hyper targets the tight ends. That's why we love Njoku and not really Amari Cooper. I just don't see him passing very much. This is going to be an offense where, if they're lucky, they get 30 passing attempts a game, and it's going to be out of necessity.
Mm-hmm.
And by that point, if they're down, it's going Kareem Hunt.
Yeah,
you would assume, or short passes to Kareem Hunt, slot guy like David Bell.
Yep. And if Amari Cooper draws J.C. Horn too, he might just get shut down altogether.
I don't even think that matters. He's just nowadays on the Browns. He's just gonna airmail
it. Ike, jumping over to you and jumping over to the Panthers. Baker, does he deserve a stream in this revenge game? All right, just keep it quick.
Keep her moving.
I'm sorry. The defensive line is just way too good. The Panthers line is just way too bad. I think Baker's going to be just on his back quite a lot.
He's a game manager this year. That's what he is.
He's got to get rid of the ball so
cool
quick, dude. Myles Garrett's going to be coming down like a bat out of
hell. Mike, are you worried with DJ Moore matched up with Denzel Ward this week? Maybe a Robbie Anderson sighting or no?
I feel like you're only asking that, to cover your bases, is because you hate Robbie Anderson. But temper expectations here, guys. DJ Moore, he's still the number one, receiver on this team with a slight upgrade at quarterback. But he's a high-end wide receiver too this week with Denzel Ward matched up against them. See, the thing about DJ Moore, he's fast, great route runner. The thing about Denzel Ward, he's fast, great cover corner.
Yeah.
So it's a tough matchup for DJ Moore. If we were going up against, some physical cornerback like a Jalen Ramsey, I think DJ Moore would probably eat him up at this point, especially watching. Sure. Yeah. But with Denzel Ward, it's going to be a tough one here. I
agree.
It's unless he gets, that long touchdown catch, it's going to be a wide receiver 2 week for him.
Yeah, no doubt. And moving on to the next game, AFC North divisional game here, guys. Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Cincinnati Bengals. Ike, Najee's been in the news quite often this offseason as well, and lately it hasn't been for very good things. How worried are you about Najee and with the foot and behind a bad offensive line?
I mean, he still played the preseason game with a bad foot, so it's not.
Yeah, it was healed by then. Yep.
I wouldn't be too worried. I mean, still, you never know with foot injuries, but Najee Harris is going to get an insane ton of volume, even in week 1. So you got to be confident in starting him. And he's done it with a bad offensive line before, like last year.
You got no choice, is what Ike is saying.
I wouldn't be worried.
Yeah, that's fair.
They want to lighten his workload a bit, but still, even if so, he would go from 25 touches to 20.
The biggest thing is he going to get the passing work like he got last year with Noodle Arm, Ben Roethlisberger? I mean,
sure.
Mitch Trubisky, is he going to check it down as much? That's the question. That's the only worry here because he's going to get the rushing workload.
Well, that kind of leads us into our next question. How many of these pass catchers can Mitch realistically support on a weekly basis? Because you're getting George Pickens hype train, Chase Claypool, who's a knucklehead, Deontay Johnson, he's hurting a little bit, and you got Najee Harris, and you got the Muth Man.
The Muth Man, yeah.
I'm a believer in the past, guys. We learn from our past. We got to learn from it to be able to not repeat it. I mean, in this case, it's going to repeat. Mitch Trubisky on the Bears, we really only had 2 pass catchers that were really fantasy relevant on a consistent basis. And really, you only wanted to start Allen Robinson. It wasn't even the second pass catcher in the tight end usually, or that, whatever wide receiver it was.
What do you mean? You never started Marquise Goodwin?
Exactly my point. But I can only 2 here. And if I had to list them in order, I'm going on a limb here, and I'm going Deontay, Pat Freiermuth, George Pickens, and Claypool is at the bottom of that list.
Fair enough. It was Taylor Gabriel, by the way, Turbo.
Thank you.
Wow.
I couldn't remember his name.
I know. I drew a blank on it too, man. That's why I said Marquise Goodwin. I think he played.
I mean, you could draw a blank on the Bears wide receivers this year after we get another year down the road.
Don't sleep on Velus Jones, man.
No.
He's good at Madden.
Jumping over to the other team here, the Bengals, your AFC champion Bengals, actually. Who scored? I'm giving you a nice, easy one again here. Nice layup. Who scores more points this week, Higgins or Chase?
You guys are probably going to think I'm going to say Higgins, but I'm not. Jamar Chase is just the guy. They have that connection since LSU, even with T. Higgins is going to be fine too. Don't get me wrong. You got to play him as wide receiver 2, maybe even wide receiver 1. But it's Jamar Chase who's going to get more points. Last year, he did just fine against him, 14.5, I believe. The second time they played him, he struggled. First week, he had 20-plus points, so he'll be fine.
Yeah, and I agree with you there. But Ike, Mike, the man throwing him.
It's got to be getting confusing here, going Mike, Mike.
It's getting me. It's getting me a little bit. It's getting me trying to roll with it, man.
Doesn't it make you want some candy?
Yes, it does. I'm getting a little hungry here. But what do we think about Burrow in this matchup? It scares me a little bit.
I mean, I wasn't scared at first. Then I dug into this, man. In the 3 games Joe Burrow has played against the Steelers, because he didn't play the second time around in his rookie season because of the injury. 3 games, he averages 15.5 fantasy points a game. That threshold we want at quarterback is 20. All right. Now, what's even scarier is in those 3 games, he only averaged 23.7 passing attempts. It seems like Zach Taylor, when they play the Steelers, they want to take this more balanced approach, get Joe Mixon involved, take the deep shots, because in the first game he had against the Steelers, he had 3 touchdowns and 1 pick. It was only like 171 yards, though. Because they don't throw it very much against the Steelers. It's weird that I found this out.
I think it's because of the pass rushers, Mike, and the bad offensive line in years past. And yes, they improved the offensive line heading into this year, but is the offensive line going to be able to gel this early in the season right away? Because there's a lot of different parts this year heading into this season as well. So the offensive line for the Bengals is better on paper, but it might not be great from the start. So,
and the best way to get your offensive line gelling together is running the ball.
For sure. 100%. 100%. So, yeah, I'm with you, man. I'm a little worried about Burrow this weekend. Jumping over to the next game, though, the New England Patriots at the Miami Dolphins. Damian Harris or Ramondre Stevenson? This was kind of a big debate all offseason, and Stevenson seemed to jump Harris late in the offseason in ADP. So I'm curious your thoughts here, and I'm curious to hear for this week.
I think Stevenson is only jumping because of the news that he's going to be the 3rd down back, which he still has to go through Ty Montgomery getting some of the targets too. That's why I'm going Damian Harris. He's going to get most of the important stuff around the goal line and all that. Mondre, I would love to see him do good. I like him more than Damian Harris, actually, just as a running back in a whole. But I think this week it's Damian. He'll get the goal line touches.
I think Mondre is just more talented than Damian Harris.
Yes.
Like you said, Harris is going to get all the goal line. And the dude's got 18 touchdowns last year, so he's pretty efficient. New England's offensive line's pretty solid. And if there's a place where you can attack Miami, it's on the ground as well. So I actually think if New England's leading this game, I kind of like both running backs in this matchup. To be honest, because they're both going to get some work.
There's a way where he could be a flex for Ramondre Stevenson and then Damian Harris an RB2 probably, but it'll be tough.
Yeah. No, I agree with you, Mike. Who is the pass catcher you want to start this week for the Pats? Hunter Henry, Jonnu Smith catching a little bit of hype, Devontae Parker, Nelson Aguilar, Jacoby Myers, they're still hanging out. What do you think here?
Man, I'm thinking this is going to be fun. Not the safest play here, again, with the toughest questions. Jesus. I think the safest play here is Jacoby Myers. Another stat I dug up from last year. He averaged, we knew this, but he averaged the most targets on the team with 7.4 a game. All right, I don't know if you knew that. Do you know who the next highest was on that team last year?
Who?
It was Hunter Henry with 4.4. 3 targets less than the second leading guy on this team. So the safest play here is Jacoby Myers. He clearly has a chemistry with Bill Mac Jones. Now, you want to reach for the stars, go and get Dylan's boy, Devontae Parker.
Mm-hmm.
If he gets 2 touchdowns this week, I wouldn't be too shocked.
Yep.
Right.
Don't expect the yards.
Or for him to separate from a man. But jumping back over to you and jumping over to the Dolphins now. This one is interesting because Chase Edmonds has been getting a little bit of a feel thrown on his fire. How good can he realistically be with Mostert there and Mike McDaniel coming over from a committee-based running attack in San Francisco.
Well, we've seen Chase Edmonds pretty much be in a committee his whole career, and he's been able to produce reception-wise, like in PPR formats and all that. So if you're in PPR formats, Chase Edmonds is good enough for a flex, but I wouldn't go any more than that. Borderline flex, though, because this New England defense is still pretty good, so the rushing game probably won't be there for him. You got to rely on all the receptions, hope for a touchdown.
Yeah.
I am a little bit worried about Mostert taking, probably he might even out-carry him.
He's going to be involved, dog, no doubt, as long as
he might even out-carry him, to be honest.
Can he outlast him in the game being healthy? That's the question.
No.
True.
Mike, this is a little bit of a goofy question here for me. I thought it was a good one. We've talked times on this podcast about how Bill Belichick likes to take away your best offensive weapon. Who is
He's
that?
so fun.
Who's he who's he
He don't give a shit. He don't give a shit about your fantasy team, guys.
He doesn't.
No, he doesn't. And he's taken away Tyreek Hill this week. I hate to break it to you. Tyreek Hill is, unless he gets that, that one play where he just takes it to the house. I just don't see Tyreek Hill coming in and giving the value we think he's going to give this week with Bill Belichick. This is the guy the Dolphins spent the most for on the offseason. We're talking draft picks and a new contract. It's obvious Tyreek Hill is the guy in this offense, and Bill Belichick's going to realize that, take it away. So temper expectations on him. I think it's a big jump for Waddle in this matchup.
Give me the fucking Jalen Waddle this weekend, guys.
And he's finally healthy. He practiced fully, so it's off the charts.
It's not like New England secondary is good. If you can hit them somewhere, you can hit them in the secondary. They lost J.C. Jackson. Their number one corner is Jalen Mills. I'm going to quote Ike here. You can miss me with that. I'm good. But before we jump into our next game, we got a couple questions here from Corey. Cortland Sutton or Elijah Mitchell, week 1 PPR? LaPlante, I know where you're going.
It's PPR, so I'm leaning Cortland Sutton here.
I agree.
But Elijah Mitchell is your safer bet here because this is a flex option, obviously. Running back's always a good option to go in the flex just with the safety and security. They're going to be up supposedly on the Bears, but I lean Cortland Sutton because that's my guy this year.
Mm-hmm. And Elijah Mitchell's not going to catch a single pass probably. So I'll go Cortland Sutton here. This is another interesting one. And I talked to Brody about it offline as well. Damian Harris or Zeke. And I'll start off, Mike. I have Zeke in my sit column in my article this week over at fantasy6pack.net with him going against Tampa Bay. And you know as well as I do, they have a very stout run defense. Zeke last year in the game when they played against each other, and Zeke was healthy. This was week 1, Mike. And remember, Zeke started out great last season. He scored 3.7 fantasy points. He had 33 rushing yards at 11 carries, something like that. So it scares the shit out of me. And I know Ike and I just talked about Damian Harris, how he could find the end zone possibly. So I think I actually lead Damian Harris because of the matchup for Zeke this week.
Because of the matchup, it does make it more difficult. But here's my thing. I know Brody's talking about our league right now, and our league is full PPR. Mm-hmm. I think Zeke, even if he gets, that 11 attempts for 33 yards, 3.9 fantasy attempts, I think he gets more targets and receptions than he did last year.
Gotta worry about
just
Tony
because.
Pollard, though.
But even so, you got Michael Gallup out. You got Jalen Tolbert fighting to get into the lineup because he's been struggling in the preseason. You got to pass the ball, even if Tony Pollard's taking up the slot. Zeke's still going to be on the field in the backfield, possibly taking those drop-off passes. Because we do know that Tampa Bay has a good pass rush.
Ike, why don't you go ahead and break the tie? I said Harris. LaPlante says Elliott. Where's Brody going this week?
If I had to guess,
I know we talked about Harris being the goal line back and all that against Miami, but
we literally just talked it 5 minutes ago.
I would still go Zeke. I think, like Mike said, he'll still
With week
get
one.
some receptions, but I think Tony Pollard will still some. But I still
You're
think
gonna
he'll do
get more
better.
touches. You're gonna get more touches from Zeke, even if they're bad touches. You're gonna get more touches, where you're banking on Damian Harris to score a touchdown to give you that value.
He's a touchdown
that Zeke
machine,
would.
man.
Yeah.
But
And
yeah,
to correct you, it was 15 he had last year, not 18. Damian Harris.
Oh, okay. That is a difference. So thanks for the correction. Jumping into the next game we got here, Baltimore Ravens versus the New York Jets. Where do you have Bateman in your rankings this week, Ike?
Well, I can say I have him after Ayuk ever since the news of George Kittle. I think 30 plus for sure.
Okay.
Like we've been saying, they're probably not going to have to pass a whole lot. They're going to want to run more. Yes, the running backs are bad. It just means Lamar's going to have to run more. But they're probably going to destroy the Jets.
Yeah, I was just going to say they're going to absolutely murder the Jets. And I know it's probably going to be the chalkiest of chalk in DFS. But it's Lamar Jackson this weekend as your quarterback.
It reminds me of the week he played Miami week 1 when he came out the MVP season when he threw.
I was going to say, don't expect like something like that. But I expect them to absolutely just route
yeah,
them.
absolute bonkers. Yeah, for sure.
I wouldn't expect 5 passing touchdowns, though, because if there's 5 passing touchdowns, that means Bateman's getting at least 1 or 2, and I don't see that shit happening.
LaPlante jumping in the backfield. What the fuck do we do with it?
I hate it, man. I hate it. It's no fun here. Why do all the fake ass Twitter doctors got to be right about J.K. Dobbins?
Those fake ass Twitter doctors.
It's not a limp, bro.
I don't like it with all this news about J.K. Dobbins. Still not looking 100%. I mean, they don't trust him with the full workload. I mean, you can maybe find some value with Mike Davis and Kenyon Drake. We know, they don't pass it to the running backs too much. So how much value does Kenyon Drake really offer?
Right.
If we do expect them to be routing the Jets, we expect them to be running a lot. And I know you guys are going to hate this, but I kind of like Mike Davis this week, especially with the news of J.K. Dobbins not taking the full workload.
That's a little gross, man.
It is. It's really gross. I feel like I got to wash out my mouth with soap. But like we said, doesn't offer much passing workload to Kenyon Drake, especially if they're going to be up. So, I mean, if they can't trust Dobbins with a 20-plus touch workload, are they going to give it to Kenyon Drake or Mike Davis? I mean, they might combine the two.
I'd rather drink bleach than
it's ugly. It's ugly. Go find somebody else. I don't trust the Ravens backfield until J.K. Dobbins is healthy.
And then, Ike, I'm going to ask you the same question. What the fuck is up with the Jets backfield? Have we? I mean, I'm sure we have. I'm just not thinking of it off the top of my head. Have we ever seen somebody take a 180 like Breece Hall has this offseason?
I don't know what's going on.
He was being drafted as like RB 18 to RB 20 around there, and now you're getting him close to RB 30 something. This is madness. What can you expect from him this week?
This is Sparta.
Michael Carter.
This is a week where you don't want to play any of the Jets running backs. Ravens defense is fucking legit against the run. So, and they're probably going to be better than they were last year. It is baffling that Breece Hall basically just like died off the hill or something. They've been saying now that Michael Carter is like the heartbeat of the offense and shit like that. So it's like, I don't know. I drafted Breece Hall literally in 1 league, so I'm not thrilled about it. So I'm sorry if you guys drafted him in like a bunch of leagues, because
the league you care the most about.
Yeah, pretty much so.
Hypothetical gun to your head, man. You have to play one of these guys. Who are you playing this week?
Michael Carter.
Breece Hall. No,
it wasn't even me.
Breece Hall.
Michael Carter. They're going to be down. They're going to be passing the ball. I got the update with Michael Carter is the heartbeat
That's what
of
we're
this
saying.
offense.
Yeah, the heartbeat.
What's that even mean? Does that mean he's going to get a lot of touches, or it just means he's a hoorah type of guy?
He's the
Jamal Williams
yeah, right.
of this team.
But, Mike, with them being down the whole game,
no.
Flacco at quarterback.
Another stupid question.
Zach Wilson still dealing with a bone bruise and the meniscus stuff. How do you feel about the pass catches with Flacco at quarterback? I honestly feel a little better. than what I did with Zach
Really?
Wilson.
You sure you didn't read my notes here? I mean, oddly enough,
I didn't.
I do feel a little better about the pass catchers, mainly because Joe Flacco's a great game manager.
And mainly Elijah Moore.
No, it's not Elijah Moore for me,
Really?
Unfortunately. We're dealing with a Ravens secondary that's as loaded as the Eagles secondary, guys. I mean, we forget about this because they were so injured last year. But those wide receivers outside the numbers are going to have a tough matchup. This is where I like the running backs in Breece Hall, Michael Carter, and I kind of like the slot receiver in this matchup a lot more too, because Joe Flacco, he's in the back end of his career, way back end. He doesn't push the ball down the field. He's a game manager. So those Elijah Moore, I mean, yes, they might happen, but I'm not safe about it. I feel safer with, having a slot receiver or Michael Carter in this matchup this week.
Yep. Yeah. All right. I get it. Jumping into the next game, Indianapolis Colts at the Houston Texans. Ike, how big of an upgrade is Matt Ryan for this offense?
Do you want just for this week or
the whole super season? Vague?
Whatever you want here, wherever you want to take this, you take it.
For the whole season, I think he adds at least 1 or 2 wins, right? I mean, he's better than Carson Wentz, so that makes him a playoff team. Maybe.
Have you seen him play in the preseason?
I think they'll beat out the Titans for a division, to be honest. But for this week. Man, I don't know. I think it's going to be Jonathan Taylor quite heavy. I think we're going to see a heavy dose of him. Matt Ryan's not going to have to do much, which might hurt Michael Pittman, so be wary of that too.
Sure.
But yeah, it's going to be Taylor's season for sure.
And you bring up Michael Pittman. I'm going to go to Mike here. I think he's still going to be okay. The Texans defense isn't great, and you know exactly what they're running with Lovie Smith. They're running a cover 2 defense. So Mike, does any other pass catcher emerge besides Michael Pittman this week?
Man, you know what position really dominates a cover 2 defense? Someone that really dominates the middle of the field where, that zone isn't so strong unless you have a linebacker like a Brian Urlacher that can cover all ends of the field. Mm-hmm. Mo Alley-Cox.
What do you mean? The Texans don't have a Brian Urlacher? Is that what
you're telling me? Bernardrick McKinney, who might still be there, maybe.
No. So I like Mo Alley-Cox this week because we've seen in the past Matt Ryan. He's the reason Austin Hooper was a thing in 2019 because he finished as a tight end 7. He's the reason Austin Hooper got that big payday in Cleveland. So I really am high on the tight end this week for the Colts. I mean, this year for the Colts as the secondary option. Now, if you really want to take it dark, go for Paris Campbell because he's fast as all hell. But can he stay healthy?
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. I like Mo Alley-Cox, though.
Yeah, I get that. Maybe worth a stream and play this week. Then before jumping into our next game, we got another question. Risk playing Godwin or flex Amari Cooper or A.J. Dillon? I'll start off.
This is easy for me.
It's A.J. Dillon.
Yep.
Mike, what are you thinking?
A.J. Dillon.
I don't think
it's got to be A.J. Dillon. I don't think Godwin's going to play.
You can't wait to find out about Godwin. You can't do it. You want to start your fantasy
I already took him out.
Yeah, you want to start your fantasy season out right. You can't be running a game time decision going into
So at that point, it's between Cooper and Dillon.
Mm-hmm. And I would go Dillon a million times over Cooper.
Yes. Agreed.
Possible uptick in his receptions.
I'm glad that was an easy one. And we
can move on to a fun game, right?
Once again. Oh no, we're still in this Colts Texans game. Well, Plant, we didn't even talk about the Texans yet. And Dameon Pierce season.
We don't want
him. Boy.
Ike, where do you have him ranked this week?
This week?
Yes.
He'll be lucky if he reaches RB3 status.
Really?
Yeah. This is a tough Indy defense, and he's going to need a touchdown to perform. He will not get any other receiving work. I'm not going to guarantee it, but I'm like 88% sure he won't. That's going to Rex Burkhead. As for the season, pretty much the same.
Yeah,
touchdowns limited, 10. Reception work very low on a bad offense. It's going to be. I don't like it very much.
Colts top 10 in not allowing rushing yards last season with only 109 a game. I mean,
Good way to put it.
Yeah, I like it.
And yeah, and
If
then, go ahead.
if I was an
Go ahead.
English professor, I would have gone to college.
And then obviously you're starting Brandon Cooks, but I don't really feel the need to talk about anybody else in this offense, and we're running a little long, so we're just going to go ahead and jump into the next game.
Throw a dart at Nico Collins if you want.
Sure.
New York Giants at the Tennessee Titans, fellas. This one's kind of directed at both of you, so one of you can take the range. Is there anyone in this offense who you could start this week besides Saquon Barkley?
Do you want to go to the play or me?
I got all the tough ones, so go ahead.
I'll start. No, I'll start. Kadarius Toney.
I was just going to say.
No.
I was going to refer to Dylan's Start Sit article.
Yes, my guy. Read my shit. I love it.
Yeah.
FantasySixPack.net, guys. Start sit. I'm bringing it to you every week. It's risky to start Kadarius Toney, but we've seen what he does.
Before he
Maybe two.
We've seen what he does when he's on the field. He's absolutely dominant. Hell, he might punch somebody on the other team. Unfortunately, he might get ejected. Hell, he might even tweak something in soft tissue because he's so twitchy, so fast. But man, is he awesome when he gets that ball in his hands. And I think if you faced Cooper Kupp and Josh Allen last night or something, and you're chasing some points, throw Kadarius Toney in your lineup, and there's
you don't got to worry about Kenny Galladay, the ghost of Kenny.
Yeah, agreed. Sorry, and I went on that rant for entirely too long. Mike, you want to add anything?
No, it's fine. It's fine. Like it's one receiver out of this pass catching group of the Giants because the Titans were not great last year against defending the pass. They allowed 248 yards a game. It is one pass catcher for the Giants here. It's just a matter of who do you want. I mean, yes, Kadarius Toney's your ceiling play. I think your safety play is probably Kenny Galladay or Sterling Shepard.
Please don't ever say Kenny Galladay again on this podcast in the start or to play again. The ghost of Kenny Galladay, Mr. 80-year-old hip.
All right. It's a matchup.
I'd rather play Wan'Dale Robinson.
Yeah, so you'd rather play the guy who got injured on seven different spots on his body last year, Kadarius Toney, compared to the guy who's got a bad hip.
The ghost of Kenny Galladay. Yeah,
have you seen
a walking zombie.
I'm just saying you can't.
He went for a fade round. He was like, no.
You can't harp on him for his hip if you're not going to address the 7 different injuries Kadarius Toney had last year.
You can throw a dart throw on Wan'Dale.
I get it, man. I pretty much outlined all that he could get injured or he could
7
put up 30 points. But jumping over to the Titans now, like, do you expect Derrick Henry to start this season out on the right foot? Do you see what I did there?
Yeah, that's pretty good, man.
Was it the right foot that got injured? Or
this is a no-brainer, man. Henry is top 30 running back in the game. You can't.
Who's ahead of him? Taylor McCaffrey?
Probably, yeah.
You said top. Okay, you said 3. I was just curious.
Yeah, but yeah.
He's
a beast, man. He's just going to dominate. It is what it is.
Yep. We'll move right along. And Mike, which pass catchers are you starting from this mighty, mighty Titans offense?
Ooh.
Give me Robert Woods.
Yes.
I like Robert Woods coming off the ACL. He's shown great progression in preseason and the training camp. So I like him as your safe play. You want to reach for the stars, man, go Treylon Burks. He's supposed to be the A.J. Brown replacement. It's just, man, he's got asthma problems. I don't know how well you can be like A.J. Brown if you got asthma problems. I mean, granted, this is probably something he's dealt with his entire life, but now you're playing at a professional level where that is going to play a factor. Mm-hmm. It's going to affect the amount of times he's on the field. So, I mean, the safe play is Robert Woods. If you want to get risque, go Austin Hooper.
Yeah, I'm starting Austin Hooper and Scott Fish against Ike. So
are you happy about that? I am.
I'm sure you are. And then I actually have to start Treylon Burks in our Fantasy Six-Pack Redraft League that we did live on air on the Fantasy Six-Pack YouTube channel. I have to start him because Rondale Moore got ruled out today.
Yeah, that's right.
With his soft tissue injury already.
Yeah.
I believe it was hammy.
But jumping over to the next game, the Las Vegas Raiders versus the Los Angeles Chargers. Ike, do you have Derek Carr in your top 12 quarterbacks this week in your rankings?
I do. I have him at 12.
Right on.
The quarterbacks behind him have tough matchups. I think Kirk Cousins is going to struggle at Green Bay. Granted, last year, Derek Carr did not play very well against the Chargers. You may have thought so with them winning one game, maybe even both. I don't remember, but he actually only averaged 15 to 17 fantasy points last year against the Chargers. That's not great, but I think it's going to be a shootout. He's got Devontae Adams. He's got Hunter Renfrow. He's got the weapons. He'll add a little bit more. I think he'll add another touchdown. I would go him for sure. Top 12.
I agree with you, Ike. It's going to be a shootout.
LaPlante, with all the weapons Carr has, excuse me, who do you think the odd man out of this? Who do you think the odd man out of this offense is this week? Is it Darren Waller? Is it Hunter Renfrow? I'm gonna assume it's not Devontae Adams. Who do you think?
Those guys almost died together. He's gonna target him like 20 times a game. I don't know if you guys heard about that.
The news. I did not hear about that, so I would
like
love
some
to
white water rafting trip or something. They almost died.
Jesus.
Now they're bros.
I mean, I'm making a call here, guys. The Chargers last year were terrible against the run. I don't think that's going to be this year. I think the odd man out this year, this game at least, is Josh Jacobs. I think every pass catcher is going to be available in this. I think Hunter Renfrow, Devontae Adams, Darren Waller. I like all three of them because of what Ike said. It's a shootout. This is going to be a 30-point game from each team, I think. And if that's the case, Josh Jacobs ain't being involved in the offense unless Devontae Adams or Hunter Renfrow gets tackled at the 1-yard line, which can happen. But I like all the pass catchers in this matchup, and I think the odd man out is the running backs for this because I think the Chargers take a big step against the run this year.
Yeah,
compared to last year where they were terrible.
Yeah, they were. They were like 30th or some shit, right?
I'm looking it up right now. They were third. Yep, they were 30th right on the dot.
Nailed it.
The only teams worse were the Steelers and the Texans.
Yep. Steelers. I'm surprised by that, actually.
Yeah, me too.
Ike, who do you have higher in your rankings, Mike Williams or Keenan Allen this week?
Keenan Allen by 1.
God damn you! I hate you.
Well, you got Mike Williams, LaPlante?
Yeah, you bet you.
All right, I got
It's tough, man. It's either way.
We saw it last year, the way Mike Williams came out. I mean, I think it's going to happen again. I just think it's going to be more consistent.
Go ahead. We'll jump into the next game here. Kansas City Chiefs versus the Arizona Cardinals. Ike, I'm over here sweating about Kyler Murray. Just his weapons dropping like flies. Rondale Moore's hurt. Zach Ertz is banged up.
You forget he's a weapon.
No DeAndre Hopkins, man. What are we doing with Kyler this week?
Pretty sure this is the second or third highest point total of the whole week. So somebody's got to score for the Cardinals, and it's not going to be all James Conner. Kyler, you don't have to worry about because he'll probably rush in maybe 1 or 2. And he's still got Marquise Brown
this week. I do.
And Trey McBride's fine. I'm sure he can fill in for Zach Ertz for 1 week. I wouldn't be too worried.
Really? That surprises me. Mike, if you got 15
His defense isn't that great.
I get it, but it scares me with the lack of options.
I'm scared about the passing ceiling here for Kyler because, like you said, the lack of weapons here. I mean, even Zach Ertz, he's game time decision. So, we're rocking here with Marquise Brown and Andy Isabella, guys. So
hey, he's showing some shit.
The ceiling I'm a little worried about here, but Kyler is a weapon upon his own. The only thing I'm worried about with Kyler is he going to get vultured by James Conner? That's my question here because James Conner does not get a lot of rushing yards, but he gets the red zone work. And we've seen from Kingsbury here, he likes using the running back in the red zone. I don't know why. It works. Maybe the Seahawks should have followed that pattern in the Super Bowl against the Patriots.
Cliff things.
But, so I am a little skeptical of the ceiling this week, but I do love Kyler in this high-scoring matchup.
It's going to be high-scoring, man. Vegas predicted, like I said, top 3. So
I wouldn't be shocked if Kyler has 100 rushing yards.
Sure, yeah.
All right, you guys made me feel a little bit better. But we do got a question here from Jimbo Fisher. What's up, Florida State? I have 2 questions about who I should start this week. 1, Penny or Ayuk? I'll answer that. Ayuk.
Now, next time you give us a question, Jimbo, just please give us a little bit of info about the format, whether it's PPR or half point PPR,
That's
just so we can give you as accurate analysis as possible. So, I mean, until you give us that update, we're just going to work out full point PPR because that's what we base this show off of. I think I like Ayuk more than Penny this week.
Clean sweep. And then Sutton or Sanders, I think it's going to be a clean sweep here, and it's Sutton.
Yep.
Yeah, we went by receivers there. Weird.
I like Sutton. I think, like I said earlier, if you were listening, this is the week, if anything, to play Miles Sanders against Detroit. How risky are you feeling? You play Josh Allen this week and Stephon Diggs?
Mm-hmm. Right.
I would not play Miles Sanders, but some people have to.
Let's jump on over to the Chiefs offense. Ike. Oh, I'm sorry. Let's go to the plant here. Which pass catcher is going to lead in fantasy points in this Chiefs offense this week?
Week 1, it's going to be Travis Kelce. I know it's a chalk answer, but week 1, it's going to be Travis Kelce. Now, I'm curious to see how Isaiah Simmons lines up against Travis Kelce because that is going to be a great matchup. But I think it's Travis Kelce just because the chemistry, they're still gaining it here. They're going to spread the ball out, but Travis Kelce's the number 1 guy. I think it's Kelce, Juju, Valdez-Scantling, then Sky Moore.
All right. Fair enough. And then Ike, I'm just throwing this at you. Give me quick 20 seconds. CEH, you back in or are you still out?
I'm out still, man. He burned me so bad.
You're not supposed to do that.
Honestly, whole season.
Isaiah Pacheco scares you that much?
I don't know why. This dude from the 7th round is getting so much hype.
That's the thing.
You're scared of a dog.
I get it. I want to stay away from. I want to stay from CEH. Stay away from CEH as well. But it's
technically he's a Louisiana Tiger, but I get what you.
I kind of want to do it, man, because it's Ronald Jones. We know Ronald Jones isn't great. It's Jerick McKinnon, and I know they like to use him as a pass blocker and passing down work. But I'm kind of getting suckered into CEH again. And Arizona's defense isn't something to write home about, especially after losing, Chandler Jones. I kind of like CEH this week.
Unfortunately, he's won any receiving work with McKinnon there.
I feel like you guys are turning me into John LaPresto, and I'm becoming a Ronald Jones truther because you are shitting on him so much.
He almost got cut. That's why I'm shitting on him. He almost got cut.
What makes Pacheco better than him? Pacheco's starting out as a kick returner.
For one.
He's starting out as a kick returner. Ronald Jones is second on the depth chart. It's not Pacheco. It's Ronald Jones.
Pacheco's got a cool-ass name, man.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
Congratulations.
They're probably, look at this guy's name.
Isn't that one of the guys' names in Death Race? Something Pachenko, I think.
I think you're right. Well, I mean, you got to think about it. Me and Ike here. I mean, our names are Michael, one of the most common names on earth. I mean, we would love Isaiah Pacheco.
Hell yeah, dude, Isaiah, that'd be sweet.
Between that and Muhammad, why?
Read a fucking book for once. But Sunday Night Football, guys. Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Dallas Cowboys. All right, so it's been absolutely nuts with Brady the last month or so. Believe what you want. Masked Singer. He got plastic surgery on his face.
Divorce.
Giselle left his ass. They're living in different houses. Whoever wants to take this, just go ahead. Can we trust Brady with all this nonsense going on? Is he even locked in and concentrated on football right now?
He always is. I mean, I hate to admit it, but he's the GOAT.
Really? I think that's the reason why he's
the GOAT of winning. He's the GOAT of winning. He knows what it takes to win.
But he just left for 2 weeks, is what I'm saying. He just right in the middle of training.
He was suspended 4 weeks for a supposed, Deflategate bullshit. Like that has any effect on any output of the game. But he was gone 4 weeks away from the team, and he still came in and win a Super Bowl. So
he was probably dealing with Giselle shit, to be honest. So he'll come back probably pissed off that Giselle's gonna leave him. He'll just torch the league.
My one concern is the O-line. The O-line is the concern here because the one
Win that
kryptonite
Super Bowl
for
and bail.
Superman Brady is pressure up the middle.
Yes.
We saw it in the Super Bowl when he played the Eagles and he lost. We saw it in the Super Bowl, when he played the Giants and they lost. Pressure up the middle is his kryptonite. So if Dallas can get it up the middle, he's done.
They ain't got anybody for that, though.
But that's the thing. They rush the outside, and the tackles for the Buccaneers are pretty good. So I like him this year if he doesn't have to deal with an Aaron Donald.
Yeah.
And then you're obviously starting Mike Evans this week. The Godwin stuff is shaky. We kind of said earlier to stay kind of clear because it's a Sunday night game, and unfortunately, you can't take that risk. Russell Gage is also banged up. You probably want to stay away. Julio Jones in a deeper league, I think so, but in like your 10, 12 team league, I think he should be sitting on your bench and just to be a wait and see.
I'd play him in 12 team.
Really, Ike?
Oh yeah,
that's intriguing. That
what
surprised
guy?
me a little bit.
Julio
Jones.
In a 12-teamer, this is going to be a high-scoring game. I don't think the defenses here are very good at keeping opponents out of the end zone. They allow a lot of yards both ways. So I do think Julio's a good play this week with Godwin out. With
Godwin has to be out.
Godwin's out, and God damn it, I'm blanking on his goddamn
Russell Gage.
Thank you, Russell Gage. With him being questionable, Julio's the second healthiest guy on this team right now.
And probably the most talented receiver.
Surprising.
Exactly. But later in the season, we will notice he will be nice.
Yeah.
Sure. Let's jump over to the other team here, guys, and the Cowboys. So I know what question's on the show sheet, but I'm going to throw one at you guys here. Are you guys scared of Dak's matchup this week as well, or are you okay with it?
Fuck no. Tampa Bay secondary is
his ankle, right? His ankle that he hurt in practice is a little troublesome.
Yeah, I think. I'm with the Plaid. I like him this week as well.
He'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
He was great against the Tampa Bay Bucs last year.
Oh yeah.
I mean, what did the defense do to improve the secondary this year? Nothing. I mean, granted, they lost Amari Cooper. Amari Cooper was a big, player in that game. I think CeeDee Lamb is going to have a day.
And then, Ike, I'll let you handle this one. LaPlante and I kind of talked about Zeke earlier. Who do you like in this Cowboys backfield this week? Tony Pollard or Ezekiel Elliott?
Don't you say it. Don't you fucking say it.
I'm going to say it.
Don't you say I'm going to slap you.
It's Tony Pollard, man. If they're playing down, they're going to target Tony Pollard quite a lot, I feel like, man. If he's playing in the slot, he's going to have a lot of easy. I mean, I'm sure. Dude, he might throw 50 times this Sunday.
He might.
That's why I love Dak.
Very possible. But yeah, honestly, it's going to sound weird, but I'll go Tony Pollard. I like him. For some reason, I like him a lot this year.
I cannot wait until we get game one, and then you and all the other Cam Akers truthers are set in your place.
He'll get like 5 carries for 10 yards, 2 catches. Like, all right, fair enough.
He might. It could happen.
He's got a wide range of outcome.
My answer is I don't really want to start either of these guys, to be honest with you. And I already talked about how I don't like Zeke in this matchup.
You got to start Zeke, though, unfortunately, because you drafted him in a spot
I told Brody earlier he didn't have to. I told you that. And I wrote about it in my article. You start Davian Harris over Ezekiel Elliott this week. That's
prime example. Are you always right? Are you always right?
Yeah.
You're always right. So you've
nice
never gone through your past articles? You've never gone through your past articles and found your shit that you've mistakenly got wrong? Own up to your mistakes. You're not always right, man.
Blah, blah, blah. Monday Night Football, guys. Denver Broncos versus Seattle.
Good transition.
Russell Wilson revenge game. What more can we really say? What I'm curious about here, you're starting Russell. You're starting Javonte Williams. Are we starting Melvin Gordon, or are we kind of out on him now?
I'm actually starting him in one league. I took him out. I took Cam Akers out for him. He's got to beat out Cam Akers now. So.
If you were unlucky and was having to deal with a J.K. Dobbins, Melvin Gordon is the perfect replacement.
Yeah, I could dig that. They should pretty much be dominating this game. So.
Here's my question, though. Are you
That's
starting
the
Tony
thing.
Pollard or Melvin Gordon?
Oh,
Exactly.
probably Melvin Gordon. That's where I'm going to lean there.
I'm probably still going
Thank
Tony Pollard.
I'm leaning Melvin Gordon.
Yeah, because if they are destroying the Seahawks, they might just let Javonte sit for a while and just be like, yeah, we don't want you getting hurt the first week. Let's just get Melvin Gordon in there.
And then you're starting Cortland Sutton. Ike, I'm putting you on the spot here. Where do you have Jerry Jeudy in your rankings this week? Is he top 36? Let's just leave it at that.
That's funny. You all the wide receiver rankings you asked me, they're all like right around each other. Bateman, Ayuk, Jeudy.
It's almost like you copied the consensus.
I don't think everybody has Ayuk that high.
Oh, probably not. LaPlante, let me ask you this about the Seahawks. We don't love Geno Smith. Obviously.
Seahawks were 31st in the league last year at allowing passing yards.
Oh,
Go on, sorry.
Yeah, that's
KJ
crazy.
Hamler, man.
What are we doing with the skill players on the Seahawks? Are you okay with Rashad Penny this weekend, DK Metcalf? And I got a lot of Tyler Lockett questions this week.
Ooh.
That one's going to be the questionable one, and I'll be honest, that's the one I kind of want to harp on the most because you got to start DK, I think, because you get Geno Smith. We've seen that Geno Smith and DK has the chemistry to possibly get you 3 touchdowns in a game. All right. Tyler Lockett is the wild card here. All right. Because he was well, I wouldn't say he's always has been, but he was the guy that was predicated on chemistry with Russell Wilson. He was the guy that could, you got that 2% PFF percent chance of them catching that catcher at that point because they had that good of chemistry. I don't know if Geno Smith has that chemistry with Tyler Lockett. I want to see Tyler Lockett do it before I put him in a lineup.
Agreed.
But DK, I trust the talent. I trust the chemistry that's already been displayed with Geno Smith. But Tyler Lockett, I think I want to sit this week. DK, I'm going with Rashad Penny, man. I think, like
He's
I said,
gonna get the volume, man. No Ken Walker.
If you're dealing with a J.K. Dobbins injury, you're dealing with one of these up in the airs. Maybe you don't want to start Antonio Gibson this week. Maybe go Rashad Penny.
Rashad Penny or Melvin Gordon. Sorry to cut you off. I thought you were
Rashad Penny, I think.
Yeah,
even though they're going to be down, Pete Carroll has shown he wants to run the ball.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I think you start Rashad Penny. He should be around a top 24 back this week. In most weeks, as long as he's healthy.
Exactly. Health is the question.
To finish off the show, guys, we got one more question here from Dino. Flex PPR, Kittle or Montgomery? I'm staying away from Kittle this week with the groin. He could play a couple snaps and he could come up lame, man, and it could be all over. Montgomery's going to get a decent amount of volume. You know they're going to want to run it. I'm going Montgomery.
That's Montgomery.
Same.
Again with you, Dean. I mean, you should know the rules by now. Let us know the format. PPR, half PPR.
He did. He said flex PPR.
Oh, God, I'm drunk.
Sorry. Yeah. Dean, talk shit to him. Call him an asshole.
Talk shit to me.
Something.
Please
but
talk
we got
shit
another question, too.
Yeah, we got Joe.
But yes, it's a clean sweep,
question.
Montgomery. Clean sweep.
10-man PBR, huh?
Yeah, Pabst Blue Ribbon.
Apparently,
PPR.
I'm not the only tipsy one here.
QB, Hurts, RB1, Harris, RB2, Connor, wide receiver 1, Diggs, DK, Goddard, Javonte Williams, defense, Saints, Prater, kicker.
Oh, he wants us to rate this. All right, I got it. All right. So
Christian Kirk,
I
Damien
love
Pierce,
the QB
Carl
Hurts. You got a guy that can finish as a QB1 this year, guy.
You're a little thin actually with Javonte at your flex.
His running backs are fine.
Man, your running backs are totally fine, and you definitely have more running backs than normally I have on my rosters.
I'd probably be playing Javonte in the RB position over to Harris.
It doesn't matter. Your lineup's your lineup.
But I would still rather have the flexibility of switching Harris out than Javonte Williams.
Because you could technically switch Harris out for Christian Kirk. You could switch Harris out for Dameon Pierce, possibly.
Hold on, is this Damian Harris or Najee Harris?
Ooh, good.
Ooh.
I just assumed Damian Harris. So it's
I
probably
assume
Najee
Najee
Harris.
because RB1.
Okay, no, you're probably right then.
So you
I'll
guys
shut
are
up.
saying
That's
Harris
Najee.
out. I'm like, hold on, wait a second.
If
Joe,
that's
I
Najee Harris, I like that.
I
love
like your
that.
I like your team a lot too. I like your team a lot.
Connor is your RB2, Javonte is your RB3. You got Stephon Diggs as your wide receiver 1. I mean, if you're only starting one wide receiver, God, that's
Two
wide receiver 2 is DK. Yeah, no, he did say it was Najee Harris.
Okay, I was gonna say.
Yeah,
I would
your
give
team's
that
pretty awesome, man.
I would give that a B+. Your only kind of question mark is your tight end because Dallas Goedert, he has the potential.
Dude, he's got the stack though. With
That's
probably
the thing.
your best.
I mean, but Dallas
maybe
Goedert, I
the
mean,
best.
let's look at what he finished last year. I mean,
Tight end 7, I think.
Exactly. I mean, tight ends. You want a tight end 5.
Mm-hmm.
That's the tight end that makes a difference. Tight end 5 to 10, 6 to 10. There's like a 40-point
Hell,
drop
it's
off.
probably top 3 for tight ends that make a difference.
Exactly. I mean, so
now with
Dallas
Kyle
Goedert.
Andrews.
Like
And,
I said, I'm digging the stack. My only worry
Goddard
was
finished as tight end 10 last year. And they
okay.
added AJ Brown. So that's my one question mark is just Goddard. I love everything else though.
See, I was thinking DK is the one that is probably a little hit and miss.
As a wide receiver too, though.
But your wide receivers after they aren't necessarily great.
He could just put Kirk in there as a solid wide receiver too. You don't think he gets the value?
But they're both on bad offenses.
Yeah, but the thing with
like could be brutal offenses.
Yes, but the defenses are worse, which means you got to pass the ball more.
Yeah, but DK was never one to get 10 to 15 targets a game, maybe once a year.
That's why
he has to rely on big plays and touchdowns.
You could flip Christian Kirk in there and then play DK in the flex if necessary.
All right, guys, let's wrap this up. Joe, solid team. Just a little thin at wide receiver, but
I give it an A-.
Very good. And Dean forgives you. He still loves you, LaPlante.
Thank you, Dean.
But yeah, guys, that wraps up our show. We went a little long, hour 30, but I feel like it was filled with good content,
very good analysis.
So, guys, you could catch us 3 this weekend on the Sunday Social from 10:30 to 11:30 Central Time. Ike's going to be with us this week. LaPlante is going to be hosting, and myself will be there. We'll be answering all your start-sit questions, guys. So everyone who commented tonight, if you have more, hit us up on the live stream on Sunday. We'll answer those questions for you.
Yeah, we put a couple posts out there. If you want to put, your comments on or your question on, premeditated, beforehand, we'll get your question answered then if you do put it on there before the live stream.
Mm-hmm. And then LaPlante and I are actually going live at halftime of the Sunday Night Football game, doing the Last Call podcast this year for the Fantasy Six Pack YouTube channel. So you catch us there too, fella. Everybody, we'd really appreciate that. Remember to please smash the like button, subscribe if you haven't. Follow us on Twitter. Our stuff's scrolling on the bottom of the screen. Did I miss anything? Sign up for those membership at fantasy6pack.net/plans. And then, we'll talk to you guys this weekend on Sunday. And the next time we do talk to you, we're about ready to watch a full slate of Sunday football games, guys. I cannot.
Hanson's back.
But yeah, I was just going to say, before you send us out, guys, if you are as passionate about fantasy football as us 3 here, please really do contemplate, getting a membership here, because we are always active in that Discord.
The Discord be popping, man.
Yeah. Exactly. So you are getting to talk to 3 people, and that doesn't include the rest of Fantasy Six Pack, that is passionate about this game. We will talk your ears off, probably more than you want to.
And people smarter than us, man.
Exactly. We got Dave Eddy in there giving us
DFS.
constant DFS content. I mean, he's always wondering, how people are doing, winning money and whatnot. I mean, I'm not as much as DFS, but I know you guys are into it.
Dean's in the Discord. He knows it's popping. It's
great content if you guys are interested.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, We'll talk to you guys this weekend. For Mike and Ike, I'm Dylan. Talk to you guys later.
Peace out.